You are about to spend thousands of dollars on a symbol of achievement, durability, and precision. But to get it, you have to walk through a door and be treated like a beggar by a salesperson who likely couldn't afford the watch on their own wrist. The global luxury watch market is currently navigating a crisis, but it isn't about the watches themselves. The Rolex brand equity is nearly unassailable. The problem, the toxicity, is entirely focused on the distribution network. We are talking about the authorized dealer, the middleman, the gatekeeper. This isn't just about bad customer service or long lines. It is a systemic failure involving opaque allocation practices, humiliation rituals, and economic behaviors that many consumers view as predatory. We are going to break down exactly why these people have become the villains of the horological world, backed by lawsuits, whistleblower accounts, and the cold, hard math of the grey market. By the end of this video, you will understand why the game is rigged and why the era of the arrogant dealer might finally be collapsing. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss the truth about the luxury market. Let's set the frame. For the last few years, buying a Rolex has felt less like a commercial transaction and more like rushing a fraternity. But as we move through 2025, the market is softening and the power dynamic is shifting. It is the perfect time to dissect the anatomy of the consumer hatred that has built up over the last decade. The fundamental source of the anger toward authorized dealers lies in a radical inversion of the traditional retail power dynamic. In almost every other sector of the luxury economy, from high-end automotive to haute couture, having money gives you power. The transaction is a service provided to the holder of wealth. If you walk into a dealership with cash for a luxury car, you are courted, you are respected. In the Rolex ecosystem, money is necessary, but it is not sufficient. The power resides entirely with the seller. They act not as facilitators of commerce, but as gatekeepers of access. This creates a psychological dissonance. You are likely a successful individual. You are used to professional deference. Yet when you walk into an authorized dealer, you are often met with indifference or active hostility. There are documented cases of potential customers being physically walked out of stores or pointed toward window displays as if they were tourists, not buyers. The resentment is compounded by the perception that sales associates enjoy wielding this power. Consumers describe interactions where associates, who earn modest wages relative to their clientele, seem to relish the ability to deny wealthy patrons. It has been compared to the dynamic between correctional officers and inmates. The associate holds the keys, and you are the supplicant who must obey arbitrary rules to obtain your desire. Then there is the exhibition-only phenomenon. Following the supply shortages of the pandemic, corporate mandates forced authorized dealers to keep shelves stocked with watches that were designated as non-saleable. This policy was a psychological disaster. It created the Tantalus effect. The object of your desire is right there, separated by a single pane of glass, but you cannot have it. To make matters worse, sales staff often use deceit to explain why they can't sell these watches. Consumers report being told these are mock-ups or that they contain non-functioning movements. Expert observation often proves these are fully functional timepieces. When a knowledgeable enthusiast is told a blatant lie by a sales associate, the relationship is framed by deceit from the very beginning. The store becomes a museum of unobtainable goods, and you are just a visitor. If you want to actually buy a watch, you have to play the game. This is the colloquial term for the opaque, unwritten set of social and economic hurdles you must clear to be deemed worthy. It is characterized by humiliation rituals. Because demand for steel sports models like the Submariner or Daytona outstrips supply, dealers demand subservience. Consumers describe this as feeling like an abusive relationship. You are expected to perform regular check-ins, physically visiting the store every few weeks to remind the associate of your existence. You are essentially debasing yourself, pleading for an opportunity to spend your own money. It gets worse. A bizarre cultural norm has emerged where customers bring gifts to sales associates. We are talking about coffee, alcohol, chocolates, and the infamous charcuterie board. This has become a meme that symbolizes the absurdity of the market. You, the customer, must feed the seller to be allowed to buy a product. You are forced into feigned social interactions, shooting the breeze for hours so the associate can assess your vibes. It transforms a commercial transaction into a performative friendship. The most common lie you will hear is about the waitlist. For years, consumers were led to believe in a chronological queue where patience would be rewarded. Accumulated evidence and whistleblower testimony have revealed this is largely fiction. Authorized dealers do not maintain a waitlist in the traditional sense. They maintain a registry of interest. A waitlist implies fairness. First in, first out. A registry implies a pool of candidates from which the dealer selects a winner based on subjective and often predatory criteria. The decision of who gets a watch is often made in backroom meetings based on profitability analysis, not how long you have been waiting. Being put on the list is frequently just a polite way of dismissing you with no intention of ever fulfilling your request. To understand why they act this way, you have to look at the economics. Most authorized dealers are not standalone boutiques, but independent jewelers. For them, the Rolex license is a blessing and a curse. While the brand brings people in, the profit margins on the watches themselves are significantly lower than on other jewelry. Industry reports indicate the gross margin on a Rolex is roughly 37 to 40%. Unbranded diamonds and gold jewelry can command margins of 50 to 100% or more. Plus, the overhead to keep the Rolex license is immense. Dealers have to spend millions on renovations to meet the brand's aesthetic standards. This creates a misalignment of incentives. They have a high-demand, low-margin product that brings you in, but they need to sell you high-margin, low-demand products to make real money. This is the root of bundling. To get the steel sports model you want, you must establish a spend history. You might be told explicitly or implicitly that spending $50,000 on diamond earrings or slow-moving watch brands is the price of admission. This effectively recalculates the price of the watch. If you spend $20,000 on unwanted jewelry to get a $10,000 watch, the effective cost is $30,000. It is extortion, and it creates a moving goalpost. You spend thousands only to be told you still haven't reached the threshold. This is the sunk cost fallacy in action. The watch functions as a loss leader. It is the bait used to hook a whale, a client who will buy high-margin jewelry for years. If you are a one-and-done enthusiast who just wants a submariner, you are a dead end for their business model. That is why they are rude to you. They are actively filtering you out because you aren't profitable enough. But consumer rage isn't just about rude service, it is about the shadow economy. There is a mathematical impossibility at play. Dealers claim they have no stock, yet the grey market is flooded with brand new, unworn watches, complete with boxes and papers dated within days of the listing. It is highly improbable that thousands of individual customers are deciding to sell their prized possessions days after buying them. The consensus is that authorized dealers are backdooring stock, selling directly to grey market dealers in bulk. Here is how it works. An authorized dealer forces a grey market dealer to buy 10 undesirable gold ladies' watches in exchange for 5 hot steel sports models. This clears the safe and meets sales quotas instantly without the effort of retail sales. In some cases, they might even charge a premium over the wholesale price, taking a kickback. To hide this from auditors, they use straw buyers. These are friends or employees who fill out the warranty paperwork to create a legitimate paper trail. The watch is then handed immediately to the reseller. This isn't just a conspiracy theory, it has been alleged in federal court. In the lawsuit Krajisnik versus C.D. Peacock, a former employee of a historic Chicago jeweler alleged a massive racketeering scheme. The suit claimed the ownership was selling watches to foreign grey market resellers to enrich themselves, bypassing local customers entirely. The allegations included racketeering, money laundering, mail and wire fraud, and even tax evasion schemes where empty boxes were shipped out of state to avoid sales tax while the watch was handed over in the store. While the case was eventually settled or dismissed, the detailed nature of the allegations served as proof of concept for the hatred directed at dealers. It validated the belief that the shortage is, at least in part, engineered by corruption. Another fraudulent practice is the estate loophole. Customers report being denied a new watch at retail price, only to be offered the exact same model as pre-owned or estate stock in the same store, but with a massive markup. Since the watch was never technically sold to a consumer, the dealer is essentially flipping its own inventory, bypassing price rules by reclassifying new watches as used. It is blatant profiteering. This behavior triggers a psychological response known as reactance theory. When your freedom to purchase a good you can afford is threatened, you become hostile toward the threatening agent. The authorized dealer is attacking your sense of agency. For wealthy individuals used to money-solving problems, this status violation is jarring. It also reeks of classism. Consumers report being judged on their appearance, a pretty woman effect where they are dismissed based on clothing. The dealer acts as a moral judge, deciding who is worthy of the brand. This dynamic has even birthed the wife meme. In online forums, users joke that the only way to secure an allocation is to offer one's wife to the authorized dealer. While it is dark humor, it points to a subconscious feeling of deep emasculation. The dealer holds such total dominance over the buyer's desire that the buyer's dignity is the currency of exchange. The dealer is the alpha and the buyer is the supplicant. You might ask, why is the hatred for Rolex dealers worse than for Ferrari or Hermes? The difference is the expectation gap. Ferrari produces about 13,000 cars a year. Hermes bags are hand-stitched. Those are artisan products with real scarcity. Rolex is a mass-produced industrial product. They make roughly 1 million watches a year. When a mass-produced product adopts the exclusionary tactics of a bespoke artisan brand, you feel gaslit. It feels like artificial manipulation. However, the landscape is changing. In 2023, Rolex acquired Bucherer, the world's largest watch retailer. This signals a shift toward vertical integration. Rolex wants to control the retail channel, capture that 40% margin, and eliminate the independent middleman who is ruining their reputation. The future likely holds a consolidation of the network. The mom-and-pop jewelers are facing an existential threat. Additionally, the market is crashing. The hype bubble has burst. Wait times for models like the Submariner have dropped significantly. As the premium on the secondary market evaporates, the incentive for flipping disappears. This removes the flipper excuse that dealers use to justify their draconian vetting. As the phones stop ringing, the arrogance of the authorized dealer is being forced to give way to traditional salesmanship. They can no longer demand a charcuterie board for a watch that is becoming easier to find. But be warned about the Certified Pre-Owned Program, or CPO. This is Rolex's way of entering the secondary market. While it adds legitimacy, it has led to price gouging, with CPO watches often priced significantly higher than the grey market equivalent. It confirms the suspicion that the dealer is incentivized to push you toward the more expensive used product rather than the new one you actually want. The status of the Rolex Authorized Dealer as the most hated person in luxury is a self-inflicted wound. It is the result of a perfect storm of arrogance, bundling, and corruption. They turned a commercial transaction into a moral judgment. But as the market cools and the corporate strategy shifts, the era of the toxic dealer may be coming to an end. Now I want to hear from you. If you had to choose today, would you play the game with an authorized dealer to get a watch at retail price? Or would you pay the premium on the grey market just to keep your dignity? Let me know in the comments.